Thank you for double-clicking your mouse tonight. You're listening to the Midnight Frightcast in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Hey everybody, this is your favorite Greg, the movie guy, here with the Midnight Frights podcast, episode number 22. I apologize if I blew out your ears there. I am super excited to be back on the podcast. I missed you guys last time. It was fun. I wish I was here talking with Benito and all that. But I'm back, so you get me now. Muhaha. To my left is the infamous Josh. Joshua, how are you doing?
I am doing fantastical now that the holiday is over.
Yay, holiday is over.
But the holiday is just beginning.
I know, but like my bad holiday is over. Is there a bad? It's not really a bad holiday, but
it's a terrible holiday. Honestly, if you think about it, let me introduce. Across from me is Patrick. Hi, Patrick.
Hey, everybody.
Hi, everybody. I read something on Facebook the other day that said only in America would you celebrate a day for giving thanks for what you have, only to go out the next day and trample people to get more stuff.
Get even more crap.
So Black Friday to me is a gigantic joke.
Yeah.
Because people go out and do that. I don't know how they do that. I've been out once on Black Friday in the morning.
It's awful.
Hated it. Absolutely hated it.
Awful thing. But yeah, retail just kills you during those, like during that holiday, like the Black Friday and the Thanksgiving and shit. Retail just fucking kills you. Mm-hmm. And now, like, that difficult part for me is over, and I can enjoy Christmas because I don't have to deal with all that extra shit.
Sure.
So, yeah. Hi, Patrick.
Hey.
We're just over here. Welcome to the Midnight Bitch Fest.
Bah humbug.
Yeah.
Yeah, but, I did go out Thursday evening.
Yeah.
He got
Thanksgiving.
legit shit.
And but I wasn't out to get the TVs and the crock pots and all that other crap. That we actually had a small mission at Target. And we got three seasons of The Walking Dead, Blu-rays, and Stranger Things season 1, all for $10 each.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Did you get the collector's edition videotape or VHS tape?
Yep.
I had it in my hands and I opted against.
Yeah. No, we got that one.
I saw Stranger Things on Blu-ray at Target the other day. Mm-hmm. And I was like, I eyeballed the shit out of it. And then I was like, I can watch it for free on Netflix.
But not forever.
Is there any cool like special features and
that's
stuff
what I need.
there?
That's what I need to look through and see.
Yeah, because that's the
what
only
the
reason.
special
Not the
features
only reason,
would
but
be.
like I should buy that. I should just pull the trigger and buy it.
There is for Stranger Things season 2. Wow, say that 3 times fast. They have a Beyond Stranger Things.
Yeah, we talked about that last podcast. You didn't listen to it, fucker.
I was in Florida at Disneyland. Sucking bitches.
All the way from Sunday of 2 weeks ago till today, he's been in Florida.
Speaking of Stranger Things, it has been renewed for a third
season.
Yep.
Oh, there's a big shock.
Well, yeah,
right?
Duh. But still, announcement.
I'm surprised they haven't renewed it for like the next 4 seasons or something like that.
They're like renewing Walking Dead for like multiple seasons ahead of time, aren't they?
Yeah, I don't know.
I think they do. So anyway.
Yes. So here we are. We are back in the studio. We are talking some horror movies. Actually, we're talking a lot of more movies. Thank you, Patrick. That's wonderful. We are going to jump right into our what have we been watching, since we've kind of been talking about what we've been watching.
Yeah.
So let's go ahead and jump into that. Who wants to go first?
I will go first because I probably have the least amount to talk about.
Do you have less than one?
I have one, but it's multiple. But it's just one.
Yeah, let's do it, man.
Well, because I've been involved with a live production for the past week and a half between rehearsals and performances, I just haven't had time to watch anything.
Sure.
But when I do get home, I do flip on Netflix, and I've been watching the first 7 seasons of The Office. Just kind of revisited that whole thing as I wind down at night, getting that energy and just trying to go to sleep. And not catching up, but like I said, revisiting The Office and how great of a show that really was.
Absolutely.
And I'm to the point now where Michael Scott has already left, and we know that was kind of the downfall for it. They knew that it wasn't going to last much longer than that. But it actually did hold up on its own pretty well without Steve Carell there.
Who replaced him?
It all depends.
Nobody technically. I mean, they tried to bring in a couple different people,
Yeah.
but ultimately,
Will Ferrell took over for like 2 episodes.
Yeah.
And then they did a search, and that's when James Spader came in and took over. He was going to be their manager, but then he talked the CEO out of their own job, and he became CEO, and then Andy became the manager, Edward Helms.
yes, Ed Helms, yeah.
But I thought he did. I mean, he's a good actor, and I thought he did a really good job. So
Ed Helms or James Spader?
Ed Helms.
Okay.
James Spader's pretty damn funny too, in his own dry, weird, strange way.
Fucking hate James Spader.
Really?
Oh, he drives me up the wall.
Then you need to see Secretary.
Is he?
Yeah,
creepy in
it's
that?
it's so like gross.
Really.
Yeah,
And he would play a really good gross role.
Yeah, it's kind of like 50 Shades of Grey before 50 Shades of Grey.
Okay.
but
Fair
it's like maybe I'm not remembering it
Maggie
correctly then.
Gyllenhaal.
But it's,
Gyllenhaal is in it.
yeah, I might not be remembering. I might be thinking of something different than that. Then
Yeah, she
So-
takes a job at his law firm and basically becomes his slave,
Oh.
and he's really gross in it.
Yeah. Okay. I'll check that out.
Yeah.
But I was not a fan of him in The Office, and I don't know if that's just a product of good writing and him being the creepy.
Oh, he was horribly creepy in that.
Mm-hmm.
But I haven't seen any of his more current TV shows. I know he's got the one where he's the
Blacklist.
Yeah,
I've heard good things about it. I've never seen it,
I haven't seen it
but
either.
that's my aversion to James Spader.
So yeah, just watching The Office, and then like anytime I spend with my wife, it's like watching live PD or Cops. So not a lot of variety here the past couple of weeks.
Quick fun fact on The Office. One of the things that I really love and appreciate about that show, after they had their season 8 pitfall with James Spader as their CEO, and it just was not a really good season, they all got together and they said, well, we can either ride this out until they cancel us, or we can go out with one more season, make it the best we've got, and go out on our terms. And that's what they did.
Yeah.
I respect them and appreciate them for seeing what was happening to the show
Yeah.
and getting out while the getting was still good.
The other thing that was interesting as I was watching that was seeing the people who were hired as extras that have gone on to have
Massive
careers.
careers.
Like Evan Peters was on there as a
Holy shit, he was Michael Scott's nephew.
Michael Scott's nephew.
I did not even realize that until now.
Yeah.
Oh.
And then the young kid who plays Bruce Wayne in Gotham played James Spader's son.
Okay.
And then just other people throughout that, that you've seen them on other things since then. So it's interesting how that show kind of launched some careers.
The pizza delivery boy
Was
the kid from Glee.
From Glee.
Yep.
Yep.
That's
So-
interesting. Oh, God, I didn't even think about that. Evan Peters was on that. Holy crap.
Yeah.
That's cool.
So yeah, that's what I've been watching.
yeah, I mean, I'll do a combination of like what I've been watching and what I am planning on watching.
Wait, this is only a 45-minute show.
Yeah.
Oh, well, yeah, it's going to go really quick because so let me just say out of the gate, Netflix originals are fucking killing it. Let me just start with that.
Yes.
Netflix and what the content they've been making is like
Solid.
what I'm into right now. So what I have been watching is I'm halfway through The Punisher right now, and it is rock solid.
Good.
John Barenthal is fantastic. I think it's not super violent yet. It's gonna get there.
Oh, yeah.
I'm about halfway through. I think it's 13 episodes, and it's just starting to pick up with a little bit of backstabbing that's about to go down, and that I think is going to bring on just total violence for the last half of the season. So I'm looking forward to that. But because I've been watching that, I added like TV now is what I added on my Netflix queue, and they're all like Netflix things. So I watched the first season of Daredevil, but I didn't watch season 2, which has the Punisher in it. So now, like, I plan on finishing the Punisher and then going back and watching season 2 of Daredevil, which I think you should watch before you watch the Punisher, because I think it sets up his character.
Who he is, sure.
And they do, that's what they do for the first half of this season, is they set up who he is and what he's gone through. But I think they touch a lot of that on in Daredevil season 2. And then I want to watch Riverdale, you talked about. So I added that to my queue. Godless, I've been hearing a lot about. I heard Godless was just fucking fantastic, and that's 7 episodes. So, like, I can smash through that really fast. And then, because we watched the movie we watched that we're going to talk about later tonight, I added 1922. I had planned on watching that as a double feature with what we watched today. I just didn't have time. And it's also Stephen King. And then there's this new Netflix original that I'm super excited to watch because they're calling it the grown-up version of Stranger Things. And it's a show called Dark.
Oh, okay.
Which is now on Netflix. So I plan on just smashing my way through a bunch of Netflix original content, and hopefully I can get through a bunch of the next couple weeks, so I will actually have something to talk about on the podcast when we meet again.
You know, I'd been thinking about it for the last couple of days just because I have creative ideas rolling through my mind all the time. I think it'd be fun to do like a straight just Netflix podcast. Just focusing on all originals.
Yeah.
I think that'd be a lot of
There's
fun.
a lot of
just
content.
because there's so much content on there, and it's like every time a new month comes up, you're just like, I can't keep up with these guys.
You can't.
It's terrible, but it's awesome because they do such good freaking work. So more power to you, Netflix. Keep pumping them out. We'll keep watching them, and if you charge me $15 a month, I really don't even care.
Really quick, also, Greg, before we move on,
Sorry.
we talked about this on the last podcast, but you were not here. Did you wrap up Stranger Things too? Did you finish watching that?
If you're ready to hand off, I can tell you about my things.
What he's been watching.
Oh, well, sorry, I was going to have a topic, but sorry, go ahead. Go ahead, Greg. Sorry, I interrupted you.
So on my what have I been watching? Yes, Josh, to answer your question, I did finish Stranger Things 2.
Can we talk about it?
Let's talk about it quickly because I have something else that I want to touch on that might take a little bit.
I just wanted to know what you thought. Shit.
Last Saturday, just a little backstory. Last Saturday, my wife was down here in Lincoln, and she was working with some friends on some crafty type things. I stayed home and had a nice, relaxing day, afternoon, evening to myself. To which I thought, what could I watch that Emily would not really be interested in? I thought, Stranger Things. I have not started that. So I started Stranger Things on Saturday. I finished Stranger Things on Saturday.
Both seasons?
Just the second one.
Okay. I was like, Jesus Christ.
I went through a binge watching burn on that. Excellent.
And did we do spoiler free thoughts, Patrick, or did we throw everything out?
On what? I'm sorry.
Last podcast. Did we do spoiler free, or did we just throw everything?
Because we talked about Train to Busan. And since it was newer, we tried to keep from throwing out spoilers.
I just want to know your thoughts, Greg.
I absolutely loved it. I really appreciate how they've grown the characters. I'm still blown away that, and I can't remember the kid's name, the kid with the hat and the teeth.
Oh yeah, I know you're talking about. Yeah.
I can't think of his name.
He's the one that found
D'Artagnan
in the trash can.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
I can't imagine what his thought process was for keeping or picking up and keeping D'Artagnan without telling any of his friends.
Doesn't matter.
It doesn't, but it's still one of those like, don't go in there. Somebody's going to kill you. You know, why are you doing this?
Well, especially with all the crap that happened to him in season 1. Why wouldn't he tell him about this thing that he found?
Exactly. Why would you not do that? And here all of a sudden you've got a freaking Demogorgon in your freaking house eating your cat.
Yeah.
Minor spoiler, I apologize. But,
that's not that big of a spoiler.
No, I loved the levels that they took this to. Patrick, I'm beginning to agree with you that Winona Ryder needs to be throat punched.
She was better. I thought we agreed that she was better
this season than she was in season 1, but that's because she had less screen time.
See, I liked her more in season 1. I thought she carried a lot more of the story. than she did in this one. I really got annoyed with her very quickly in this one. I love the new redheaded girl. I thought she was a great character.
Mad Max.
Yeah, Mad Max.
Yeah.
I loved her character.
Yeah, she's great.
I loved her relationship with the black kid. I can't think of his name.
Yeah.
Boy, I should have really looked these up.
You mean the one that couldn't be Venkman?
That would be the one. Yes. No, I thought they did really good with all the storylines. I love how they leveled it up. I thought it was...
Yeah.
I thought they did really well with it. Very, very pleased.
The other thing, really quick, Greg, and I know we're on a time constraint, but I just want to ask you. There's an article that came out that I talked about with Patrick before the podcast that said the episode where they straight just focused on 11 and number 8 was the worst episode, not only in Stranger Things, but the worst episode
of any series
ever.
Really?
Where they just spent the entire episode on those two. Thoughts? And I know you didn't read the article, so it's not really fair, but...
No, it's okay, because it makes sense, because I remember watching that, and I was intrigued, but I wasn't hooked. It kept my interest only because 11 now has a little bit more meaning. You know, she's number 11 out of
however
many there are of these type of people. So now we get to meet number 8, who, you know, she has these very similar special abilities.
Yeah.
I wasn't a huge fan of watching her grow these special abilities. I don't know. It wasn't, I wasn't very enthralled with the episode. It kind of made sense.
Are you intrigued enough with the character to see it continue into season 3?
I'm intrigued with the concept of what the character represents.
Okay.
More so than the character. I thought the whole her little gang of whatever they were doing was
80s misfit,
right?
Stereotype.
It seemed very stereotypical.
Yeah, it was weird. They may have been able to do it a little bit better, but maybe she's a tosser character for next season where they start bringing in more of these like 2s and 5s and whatever.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Because now you know that there's more of them out there. You know, where's it going to end?
Yeah.
But yeah, Josh and I were talking about that. That even though I'd liked that episode, I felt that they could have handled the information that she learned from 8 with the other characters in the show, that they didn't necessarily have to divert to this group for an entire episode.
Right.
But I do like the idea that it introduced another character that will most likely come back in season 3.
Yeah.
I'm sure that's going to be their next development.
Yeah.
Because they're almost going to need these other 8s and 11s and 4s and whatever characters to defeat this super whatever the big spider thingy is.
So have you been watching the Beyond Stranger Things then?
I saw the first episode of it. I haven't continued with it.
Because they have an episode about them talking about the kissing scenes. And it is so cute to watch these kids talk about it.
Oh, sure.
Yeah, it's very funny.
I also just I like the addition of, is his name Billy? The extra antagonist in Mad Max's brother.
The weightlifting douche nozzle.
Yeah. Yep.
It added a little extra when they weren't fighting Demogorgons and they weren't fighting mad scientists. He had that extra little bit of antagonist to bring to every episode.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely, and kind of getting to see his backstory to kind of understand or better understand what he's all about. Yeah. I did like him. I did like him a lot, and I like the new found relationship between Mike's sister and I think his name's Jonathan.
Yeah.
That's kind of an interesting little play right there, and how they turned Steve away from all that. So it's just the character in it, the characterization has been awesome so far.
And then also one thing that I just absolutely loved was the addition of Sean Astin and Paul Reiser into the cast.
So good.
Paul Reiser just plays an excellent character that walks that line of is he good or is he bad? And Sean Astin just plays his normal
goofy self,
nerdy type character, and he was perfect for offsetting Winona Ryder, I felt. And I just
goofy
like,
and she's annoying.
Yeah, I just liked what he did, and
right.
It made me sad but I'm not going to spoil.
Yeah.
I think you may have.
No.
Okay. Cool. So I watched Stranger Things was one on my list. I watched the movie Moana for the first time. Absolutely loved it. Started watching season 2 of Haters Back Off. Yawn. Did you like it,
God.
Patrick?
My daughter loves that show.
You know what? I knew nothing about that character at all. I thought it was just a Netflix original. I didn't know that Miranda was a character on YouTube. I didn't know that
Miranda
She actually exists?
Miranda sings on YouTube. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
It's a college girl that was she was a theater student.
Uh-huh.
And I think she go ahead, Patrick. I was telling
No,
you how I hijacked what
No,
you're doing.
no. Continue.
But she did this Miranda thing at like parties or something, and it just stuck. She was doing like every theater stereotype
Yeah.
that you could think of rolled into one person,
And
she came up with Miranda Sings.
And it's fun watching, like, because my daughter was showing me some of the videos that she puts together as Miranda, but then also as herself.
Mm-hmm.
And this young woman can sing really well.
It's crazy.
And so then, like, she showed me, like, the side-by-side videos where they do duets with each other and just crap like that. And I think it's pretty funny.
Didn't translate.
No.
Didn't translate.
See, I liked it. And
Really?
it's bizarre. I don't know why I like it or anything like that. But I will say that, to me, the most intriguing character on that show is her boyfriend, Patrick.
Oh, yeah.
I just think he's the sweetest character in the whole thing. I mean, she doesn't deserve him or anything like that. And I also like, I can't think of her name, Angela
Kinsey.
Yeah, from The Office. I think she's extremely funny, but I also think she's got dramatic chops, and I'd like to see her do other things.
Absolutely.
So-
Yeah, I liked season 1 of that, and we were kind of waiting for season 2, and we got about 3 episodes in, and we're like, not feeling this one.
Interesting.
So, started that, watched and got through Riverdale, which I would love to do just kind of a conversation at some point about that, because it was absolutely phenomenal for what it was.
It was nothing what I expected.
Exactly.
I saw the trailer for it, and I thought, oh, this looks like an interesting twist. But then it was almost like, it's based on the Archie comics, and it's like it met Twin Peaks in a way, So, yeah.
Yeah. So those are 4 that I had started watching. And now I have to break from my normalcy of this, because what I'm about to talk about here is something that has absolutely blown me away. Emily and I went to the movies this afternoon. Saw a movie that I've been watching, kind of keeping an eye on ever since I don't want to say its inception, but since its notice of release. It's a movie called Coco. Disney Pixar. I'm not sure where to go on that with this, but what I want to say is there are when I look at movies on an analytical side, I try to find places where I can put them within likability, I guess you could call it, and stop me if I'm rambling or saying stupid stuff.
Go.
I don't often see a movie once and immediately want to put it in my all-time favorite movie list, like my top 10. This movie broke the mold for me. I'm ready to, after seeing it once, put it in my all-time top favorite movies.
Wow. Top 5?
It's in my floating 5 for sure.
Okay, so this is Disney Pixar. What's Coco?
Coco.
Is this that one?
It is that. It is an
Okay.
animated movie. Obviously, it's done by Pixar. This movie, not cinematically. I lost my train of thought. Shit. The animation in this is Pixar showing off what they can do, and they do it so damn well. Story in this is absolutely phenomenal. I was tears in my eyes by the end of it. The music in this is incredible, absolutely incredible. I am buying the soundtrack immediately. basis of the story is a young boy who has been banned from music by his family because of a relative from way back when who up and left the family to pursue music. And so they have cut him off, and he bears a little bit of this relative in him in that he wants to be a musician, and he's actually a very good musician. So he goes looking for them only to end up in the land of the dead and looking for this relative, essentially. I won't go into too much more because go out and see this movie. Like, drop everything right now and go and see this movie. I want to go. I want to do the entire podcast just on this movie. I know I can't. So I'll save a little bit of it for my blog post. Definitely check that out. GregTheMovieGuy.blogspot.com. I hope to have that up by tomorrow or sometime early this week. I want to make a sweeping declaration. Two sweeping declarations. A, Pixar proves with this movie that it is one of the best motion picture production studios in the world. Absolutely just slams it home with this movie. Second sweeping declaration. If this movie is not nominated for Best Picture, I quit movies.
All right, Greg, you set it up really high. I'm going to take my kids to it on Friday. If I fucking hate it, do I get my money back?
You have to talk to theater about that one.
No, I think you should pay him.
I'm not going to pay you back. You should, at some level, like this movie.
My wife and kids want to see this movie really
The
bad.
problem it's going to get from being nominated for Best Movie is that it's animated.
It's animated. That's the thing that's going to kill it.
So it'll be nominated for Best Animated Movie.
And
it should be nominated for probably music too, right?
It'll probably have music. If it doesn't get a Best Animation win out of the gate, there's no other animated movies that came out this year that can touch this. There's no other animated movies ever that could touch this.
We'll come back on this, Greg, again when we do our Oscar
Absolutely.
podcast.
Oh yeah, we got to do that.
I will put this movie up against any animated movie ever created.
Wow.
And it'll blow it out of the water. Absolutely blow it out of the water.
All right.
I'll set the bar high. I don't care.
Super high.
I swear on this movie. It is amazing. Absolutely
better
amazing.
than the original Lord of the Rings by Ralph Bakshi.
I never saw that one.
You don't want to see it.
There you go. So,
Coco.
Go and see Coco.
Coco.
Yeah, if you're disappointed, that's your problem.
Go let Greg know what you think on his blog.
Yeah.
Yes.
Greg? Yeah.
GregTheMovieGuy.blogspot.com. I want to hear comments.
All right.
I've got a couple more before I want to see that one though, because I've missed Thor Ragnarok and
Okay, I'm glad you brought this up.
and I missed Justice League.
Justice League was good. Oh, I saw Justice League. That was another one.
Oh, okay.
I'm glad you brought this up. I'm not, and I've already declared this, so everybody already knows this. I am not a huge comic book movie fan or whatever. I didn't see Avengers. I didn't see Thor or Hulk or Iron Man. I didn't see any of that shit. I'm more of a DC, but anyway, it doesn't matter. I saw Guardians of the Galaxy, which I fucking love both those movies. But anyway, has anybody seen the Avengers Infinity War trailer yet?
Yes.
I'm not even a fucking fan of these movies, and I saw that trailer and shit everywhere. It is like bonkers.
Can you imagine how much money
good.
it's
That
costing
production
to make
value
that
is going to
movie?
be outrageous.
I mean, look how many, because they're bringing like every Marvel character that they've dealt with so far into this movie, paying these A-list actors. My God.
And it starts, and it's one of those, like, I very rarely get like goosebumps like when I'm watching anything like that, but it starts and you got the narration over the top of it, and then the Marvel comes up and like the score kind of comes in, and right there, like every like
it hits you right in the feels.
I was like, I don't have to see any of these fucking movies, but I'm going to go see that movie because it just looks like it ties some serious shit together, and I want to be a part of that.
And it does tie all the movies together because in each one something
it's a part
happens.
One. It's a part one, I heard.
Yeah, this 2-part movie.
And because certain things happen and certain things need to be collected, and it does pull them all together.
Yeah.
What I love about that trailer is you see all these characters, Iron Man comes on and then everybody else, and one by one they're showing up, and then it kind of calms down for a second, and then all of a sudden the characters from Guardians of the Galaxy walk
at the
in.
end. We're like, who are you guys? And it just shows them real quick, and then it cuts off. But that's just one of those moments where you're like, I love film. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? It was so good. I feel like I have to go back now and watch those other movies that for the like last 10 years. Is that
It's
going
yeah.
up to 10 years now?
You have to.
Iron Man came out in 2008.
Just so
They've been doing this for 10
That's
years.
crazy.
Yeah.
They have to blow this
They've
out
been
of
building this story for 10 years.
They have
This
to
is
blow
crazy.
this out of
Yeah.
the water.
Yeah.
But anyway, yeah, I just wanted to share that because I said I'm not even into this kind of shit, and I nerded out with the best of them when I saw that trailer.
And there's still a couple movies to fill in before that one happens, because I think Black Panther has to come out.
Yep.
And I thought there was another one.
Let's see. Thor 3. Guardians 2 came out this year.
Right. Because I don't think there's another Captain America before
No,
then.
they've done the 3 of those. I think they're
Yeah.
doing 3 of each, and then they're starting to release those.
Maybe Black Panther's the only one that's coming out before that.
Possible.
Is that because they have to introduce that character to show Infinity War?
Well, they introduced him in the last...
Oh, in not Winter Soldier, the
The last
Civil War.
Avengers
Civil
movie?
War.
Okay.
Yeah, they introduced him in that one.
Okay.
But this one's specifically about him.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's his solo one.
Cool.
Were they doing Ant-Man 2? I think they were doing Ant-Man 2 or Ant-Man and the Wasp. That might be it.
Maybe.
I think that is. I can't think because they're not.
Either
doing-
way, I'm going to see them all.
they're not
because
doing a Doctor Strange.
I don't know why I am hooked on Marvel movies. I
I
think
mean, I love DC, but Jesus, this. Yeah.
I wonder if Deadpool's going to show up in it.
That would be awesome.
I would love that.
DC Justice League was good. It was better than Batman versus Superman. I
Which
think
isn't saying much from what I understand.
Well,
it was entertaining. I like them as a group. DC is moving way too fast for what it needs to be doing. They're trying to play catch up with Marvel,
Yeah,
and
they're
they should
not
not be doing that.
Taking the time to set up everybody. up.
Exactly.
Like, should Aquaman have come out before they did stuff like that?
before Justice League, possibly.
Possibly, I mean, to set up a character to show an origin story.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But now that he's out, do they need to set up one, or do they just keep going with Justice League?
Well, they're already
And-
making that movie. I mean, James Wan is already making that movie.
Is he?
So yeah, he's directing.
And-
He's directing Aquaman.
So it'll probably be an origin story that's going to be really awkward because it's like, oh hey, we've already met Aquaman.
Yeah.
Cool.
Of all the movies leading up to this one, Wonder Woman was the only one that to me was successful.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Wonder Woman was phenomenal.
Yeah.
Absolutely phenomenal.
And she said she's not going to do any more if that guy's still associated with the.
He's out.
Why
Is
is
he
that?
out?
He's out. Yeah.
Okay. No, it's some other guy.
Oh, okay.
Can't think of his name.
But yeah, and I know Ben Affleck is also being replaced or talked about being replaced. But his replacement, the name that's been dropped, is pretty fantastic. So
Do share? I have not heard this.
Jake Gyllenhaal has been dropped name wise to replace Ben Affleck
As Batman.
So
I don't know that I could see that
I think it'd be interesting.
because it's not a very big. I mean,
Neither was Ben Affleck though. He wasn't huge. He was like stocky huge like before he did.
Age-wise, I think it's difficult because I think they're trying to build to a Batman Returns or the Dark Knight Returns.
Dark Knight Returns, where
story.
he's older.
Yeah, and he comes back and he just starts killing people.
Yeah.
Which I don't know if Gyllenhaal's old enough to be doing that. Where Ben Affleck, I could see that happening. I don't know.
Well, I mean,
That's an interesting casting choice.
just the way it's been going. Like he dropped out as director for Batman, but said he was still going to star in it. And now the director that's coming in that's rewriting Ben Affleck's script, and now in that seat is he doesn't necessarily want to work with Ben Affleck, the actor, as Batman. So
Interesting. Very interesting. That
So,
would
yeah.
be weird.
we deviated way off.
Well, and I was going to rabbit hole one more time. Speaking of Jake Gyllenhaal, there is a Broadway musical of Bubble Boy.
Really?
Oh wow.
Yeah,
Are they running out of ideas too?
I don't know. I have not heard it yet, so I couldn't tell you the quality of it. But
This rabbit hole is running deep. It's running real deep.
yeah,
One last avenue on this. Jason Momoa makes Aquaman fucking cool.
Yeah.
He is badass in this movie.
I'd like how he looked in the trailers and everything else. So
He's even better than he was in the trailers.
Okay.
It's just it's a good collaborative effort. The guy who plays the Flash, I can't remember his name, is hysterical and awesome. And yeah, they do really well with this collaborative effort.
Yeah.
So it's better than Batman versus Superman, which isn't saying much, but I would chalk it up there with one of the better ones that they've done.
All right.
Cool.
So
Let's talk about our movie of the night, shall we?
let's do that before
It's
we
about
start
time we transition.
before we start rabbit holing even further.
Because we already spent 30 minutes on what we've been watching.
Yeah,
So.
let's lead us in, Greg.
We watched a while ago. I guess Patrick and I watched a while ago.
I watched it today.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Wow, nothing like waiting to the last minute.
So Josh is behind the 8 ball here.
I wanted
We
it to be
decided
fresh.
that's actually probably fair because I remember a little bit about this, but not a lot. So we decided to watch a movie that came out back in October, Stephen King's story called Gerald's Game.
Yeah. Which is not horror, by the way. But whatever.
I would give it, well, it's probably more thriller than horror, but I would give it some horror aspects to it. I mean,
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah.
Let's dive into that. So
Yeah, I wonder if people consider it horror just because it was done by Stephen King.
That's got to be the only tie to it.
but even still,
think.
Stephen King did The Green Mile. He did Shawshank Redemption.
Shawshank Redemption.
Yeah.
So he's dabbled in other things. I think it's kind of a fusion of thriller horror,
Right.
you know. Yeah. So
Who will start?
who wants to start? Yeah.
Well, let's talk about it first.
Go ahead.
Gerald's Game is a Netflix original,
Yes.
correct?
Yes.
So here's the synopsis. While trying to spice up their marriage in their remote lake house, Jessie must fight to survive with her husband, or when her husband dies unexpectedly, leaving her handcuffed to their bed frame.
Rotten Tomatoes, all that stuff. Is there anything ratings?
Let's look at the ratings here on IMDb. It's 6.7 out of 10. Rotten Tomatoes gave it 90% on their tomato meter, with 75% of the audience liking it.
Yeah. Those are good scores.
So that's good scores across the board for this. Starring Carla, and I don't know how to pronounce the next name or the last name, Gugino. Is that right?
Gugino.
Something like that. And then Bruce Greenwood. It's essentially a two-person movie when it boils down to it. There are other characters in it, but it boils down to those two characters, and mainly Jesse, the main character.
Yeah.
And I'm throwing you under the bus, Josh. Yes, she is hot.
Oh, you motherfucker.
Dude, the entirety of that movie, watching her write around on that bed was awesome.
I've always found her attractive. Ever since one of the first things I saw her in was Sucker Punch.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, Jesus.
Yeah.
She's been in a ton of stuff though, hasn't she?
Oh yeah, she has.
Yeah, I guess I'll kind of start a little bit. I didn't know a lot about this movie walking into it. I knew a couple things. I knew that a girl gets handcuffed to a bed and her husband has a heart attack after she's been handcuffed to the bed. And that's what I knew. I wondered, so 20 minutes into this movie, she's handcuffed to the bed.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, they come out of the gate swinging.
Yeah, it's an hour and 45-minute movie. 20 minutes in, she's handcuffed. 22 minutes in, he's dead. Okay? So that's now an hour and 25 minutes they have to fill of this girl being handcuffed to a bed. And I was like, how the fuck are they going to spread 70, what is it? An hour and 25 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
How are they going to sustain this for that long and make it, entertaining to watch? Right. That was the big question I asked myself after all this happened so quick into the movie. And they kill it. They the way they cover how they fill in all the gaps to get you through the movie. I liked the my holy shit moment was the dog.
Oh yeah.
And I loved that they did the whole Cujo line because that's a Stephen King character.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't like the whole Cujo joke, but my holy shit moment was when that dog walked in the room and she's handcuffed and he's dead, and knowing that dog had not eaten yet, I was like, this is gonna go really, really bad. So that was a moment that hit me pretty hard. The flashbacks to her as a kid was really rough to watch. Loved Henry Thomas. It was hard to watch Henry Thomas because when I see him, all I think is E.T. Because that's really all I know him from. So I was like, that's a kid from E.T. But gross little part of the movie. Important part of the movie, but just like so uncomfortable. I did not think I would like this movie. I'll be really honest with you out of the gate. I was like, this is just not my cup of tea. It's so fucking good. It's really, really good. Yeah, those are my thoughts.
Hats off to her to be able to sustain that basically by herself for 80% of the movie, because, you know, he dies right away. And are we giving away too much by saying how they sustain it?
I don't know. Let's just talk about it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Spoilers.
Spoilers. The fact that, you know, she plays herself and has conversations with herself, that, you know, they had to film that separately and then mesh them together with, you know, After Effects wizardry.
Too, so.
Well, there was body double but there was a lot of side by side shots.
Yeah.
That, you know, that they had to film them both.
Right.
You know, and the fact that her husband comes back and talks to her as well.
That guy was good.
So you're able to have those conversations to help fill that time. And it was just filled with, it wasn't just exposition to me. It was incredibly entertaining dialogue that just helped build her character. Yeah, the dog was pretty gross, but what got me was how she got out of the handcuffs.
Yeah, that was so rough.
Because that was harder to watch than I remember it being in the book. Because in the book, I just remember it that the blood lubricated it and that she was able to break her fingers and get out.
Yeah.
But watching what she did...
Oh, yeah, I was just like cringing that entire time that she did that.
Yeah. So that was really tough to watch. And like you had said, the beach scene, watching the eclipse.
Yeah.
That was, and that probably hits Josh and I even harder because we have daughters. And just thinking about that is just,
awful.
Oh my God.
Awkward and awful.
It's like what was worse, and they talk about this in the movie, what was worse, what he did during the eclipse on that beach, or what he did in the bedroom after that was all done.
Yeah.
And the psychological aspect of it.
Right, because there was the physical abuse and then there was the psychological abuse.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Rough.
Very rough.
It was, but otherwise it was, you know, I think if you're watching a movie like that, you want to have something that's going to kind of tip you in one way or another. You don't want to come out of that thinking, oh, that was a decent story. You want to come out of that with like, oh my God, my skin is crawling from that. And I think that's a product of great writing, great storytelling, great acting. And I think we got all of those out of this movie. I was, you know, incredibly impressed by it. I love the interaction that she had with her and I can't remember her husband's name, but Bruce Greenwood.
Gerald. The husband's name, Gerald,
Shut up.
It was Gerald's game.
I can't remember the husband's name is the title of this podcast.
I'm never going to live that one down. I love the interactions that she has with Gerald after he's passed and he comes back as a figment of her imagination. Because honestly, what would you do if you were in that situation? You're handcuffed to a bed. Hopefully Gerald is not the reasoning that had happened. Not saying that there's anything wrong with that, but you know, what's going to go through your head? You know, survival is number one. Trying to get out of there is number two. And there's nobody else there to talk to. So you're going to have to go straight into your imagination, or not your imagination, but into your subconscious and think, okay, I got to get myself out of this. How is this going to happen? So they essentially just gave her subconscious a personality, being Bruce Greenwood's Gerald.
Yeah. I was a little bit, I was like a little bit confused on the Moonlight Man thing that was going on.
That was one thing I wanted to bring up as well. Because there was a definite horror aspect in that.
Yeah.
With that character.
Yeah.
Having had seen it back in October, it's been a while, so I don't remember
So what's your question about it?
Well,
then?
so it's not really confusing and it's not really even a question. It was he there or was he not there? And they talk about the footprint on the ground. The first time you see him, he's in the dark corner and he disappears out of nowhere. The second time you see him is down that long fucking fantastic hallway shot.
Hallway shot, yep.
Where he's down there. And then the last time you see him, he's in
the hotel room,
the
right?
courtroom.
The courtroom.
I don't remember that part.
And so it went from something that I was like, okay, that's just a figment of her imagination, right? To that dude was he really there?
That's the way I took it, was that he was always there and that she saw him, but I think some of it was a figment of her imagination, that once she saw him, maybe she saw him again and maybe saw but I think it all comes down to once they found him, then that made it all real to her.
Yeah. So then explain he had a line at the end of that movie and that I was trying to, because okay, we talked about is that a figment of her imagination or is he real? And then she approaches him in the courtroom and he has that line, "You're not real, you're just made of the moonlight." So was she a figment of his imagination? Does that make sense?
It makes sense what you're saying. I think maybe they had some sort of subconscious connection or something like that, because he had killed all those other people, but he didn't kill
left
her
alone.
Right.
And that's the other question, like why her?
And because she had, I think it's because he recognized she had been tortured enough. And that's why I'm saying there was probably some subconscious or supernatural connection between the two of them. That he knew that she'd
So
been
in
through
some
hell.
level, he was the Moonlight Woman haunting him because he let him live.
He let her live.
And he was the Moonlight Man to her?
Her.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which is, there's a lot of interesting stories twisting within this one story of survival. Yeah. So it's done very, very well. Would highly recommend it.
Yeah.
I also got
creeped out very easily.
I also got to say, hats off to Bruce Greenwood. He's 11 years older than I am. And when he took his shirt off, the guy's in great frickin' shape for being 61, 62 years old.
At first I thought it was the same guy from Don't Breathe. Not the same guy.
Nope.
The other thing that made this film work, that I feel like you had to have to make this film work, was Jesse's character was a very likable character.
Yes.
That she could have been a total bitch and you would have not given two shits that if she died on that bed. They had to set up somebody that was very likable to make this work. And that, again, where I can't think of her name again.
Carla Gugino.
Just did a fantastic job in making that character very likable.
Yeah. For Bruce Greenwood's character in the book, I just remember him being a total asshole the entire time. And I thought Bruce Greenwood did a nice job of
towing the line, because sometimes he was a complete dick and sometimes... Was
that tame in the movie compared to the book?
I thought so.
Tame? Was it? I thought read the book, so
yeah.
Was it?
Yeah, but it's been years since I've read the book, but I just remember him being much more of an asshole to me, there was no, I almost felt sorry for him that he had a heart attack and died in this. And in the book, I was glad to know that he died.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
So I think that was a change. Overall, only a handful of people have been able to take Stephen King stories and make them into good movies. Yeah. And I think this is one of those cases where they were able to take it and make it into a good movie.
They tried to make Gerald's Game a few years back with another director and a whole different cast. Not through Netflix.
Okay.
A studio. And they could not figure out how to do certain things.
Sure.
and I don't know what those certain things were because just watching the Netflix original, it didn't look anything in there was too difficult. Did they translate the book to screen pretty well?
Pretty darn
Patrick?
well.
So it didn't look like anything in there was that difficult, and yet they couldn't figure out how to do certain things.
Unless it was just like a story weaving type thing.
Maybe.
I could see where you get really tripped up because you got 3 different stories all in one.
Yeah.
So,
but the guy that did this did Hush. His wife was in it again. I think she played the mom. She played Henry Thomas's wife.
Oh, right.
Same girl from Hush.
Yep.
That guy's on fire. That guy's making good stuff, and he's making good choices as far as like the projects he is taking. And I haven't seen him do anything that I hate yet.
Was Hush a Netflix original as well?
No, that was not.
No.
A
Okay.
studio. I don't think it was studio. I think he funded that himself.
Okay.
So, but yeah, that guy's killing him. So I dug it.
I would say the only thing that I didn't really like in this movie was the eclipse scenes kind of looked fake.
Yeah, it did.
But then again, I was able to forgive that because it was a flashback and it was how she remembered it.
sure.
Well, do you think also it would have been? They showed it like 100 times, like not even just on the beach. They showed it a couple other times, separate from like she would be in her bedroom and they'd show a flash of just the eclipse, not the beach scene, just that shot.
Yeah.
Do you think you would have noticed it as much if they wouldn't have shown it 100
I don't know.
times? So
I don't know. To me, it almost looked like a sunset.
yeah,
And that's what bothered me because it wasn't because we just experienced an eclipse here.
right.
yeah.
A total eclipse. And that's what they had there. And things turned gray around here. It didn't look like a sunset. It was just a lot of orange in it. So maybe that's what was in my mind is
But also keep in mind that they were near a lake or a beach. I don't remember.
well,
what it was,
and the moon
that-
was much lower in the horizon.
Right.
Ours was directly above us.
and in the middle of the day, which this would
yeah.
seem like it was like a sunset
Yeah,
type.
so-
and you get those reflections off the waters, and I think that probably would have enhanced it. Probably not as much as they had created in that,
Right.
but it's movies. You can kind of do.
Well,
whatever
and
you
like I
want.
said, it was her memory. So
exactly, yeah.
It wasn't necessarily a flashback. It was more of her memory.
Was it decade specific in the book, Patrick? Did it take place in a certain decade? Do you remember, or does it talk about it?
I don't remember.
I only bring that up because of the music during the beach scene that they played, which made that extra creepy. Or by the way, the song they were playing when that was going on. So I was wondering if it was decade specific for if they brought that up in the book at all.
It may have been because the book's been around for a while now, and he tends to like to set his flashbacks in a certain time,
Yeah,
and maybe that's because what he's used to.
yeah.
That's very
So-
true. Very true. All right, so giving it an overall rating, what do you guys think? Out of 10,
8.
That's what I would give it as an 8.
I give it 8.
I think that kind of goes
85.
along with what they're saying on the ratings as well.
Peep
Absolutely.
out Gerald's game.
Absolutely. Yeah, definitely. Definitely give it a watch. So we are at the end of our special time together. It's been real. It's been fun. It's been real fun.
Adventure time.
Adventure time. Let's plug. Somebody got something to plug. Go.
I have something to plug. We've got 3 more performances of Soda Pop at the Haymarket Theater this December 7th, 8th, and 9th. Go to haymarkettheater.org to order your tickets. It's Soda Pop, the 1950s lip sync musical sensation.
It's a ton of fun, by the way. Just a little bit we saw Sunday during tech rehearsal was, I was laughing for
absolutely.
the whole time. It was a ton of fun. So
Yeah, come out and see it before I completely blow out my knee.
yeah, and if you it's super good. So I had a lot of fun with the 45 minutes that we did get to watch. So Greg?
If you're looking for some high quality movie reviews, jump on over to gregthemovieguy.blogspot.com. I give you reviews on movies that I have recently seen, be them old, be them new, or be them ones that I just kind of have a Jones to watch. So recently just posted a blog post for Justice League. Very, very interesting one I thought I had written. That's kind of weird to say that about my own stuff. But within this week, I should have a post up for Coco, which is a must-see. Go and see this movie. I don't care what you're doing right now. Drop everything. Go and see this movie. If you take anything away, go and see Coco. You should be amazed. So, again, that is Greg, themovieguy.blogspot.com.
Also, check us out on Facebook at Midnight Fright Films. You can find us at the Midnight Frightcast. Follow us on the YouTube page, Midnight Fright Films, midnightfrightfilms.com. We are Midnight Fright Films everywhere. You just got to search that Midnight Fright Films and you will find us. We don't have any real new content up on the website because we haven't done anything new recently.
Not since Prairie Lights.
Yeah, things are coming. There are things in the discussion phases, and we should probably get a new blog up on that website as well for the winter month. And yeah, that's where you can find all of your Midnight Fright fun.
All right. So, ending it here from all of us here at Midnight Fright Filmcast. Midnight Frightcast. Filmcast?
Midnight Frightcast.
Midnight Frightcast.
You fucked it up at the beginning, too.
Did I?
Yeah, you did.
Crap, I apologize.
I was going to let it go.
I'm never going to be able to ask the intro again. From all of us here at Midnight Frightcast, we wish you a scary Christmas and a bloody New Year if we don't hear from you or talk to you until then.
Yeah, because we should have a movie, a Christmas horror movie to review.
We'll do a Christmas horror movie
the end of the year.
We'll do an end of year.
End of year.
These things are not discussed with me when I go into my outros.
We
God damn it.
discussed it before we jumped on this
And
thing.
I forgot it apparently, so it wasn't very memorable.
Reminder.
All right, I'll try and do this one again because we'll do this before Christmas, I'm sure. But it's been fun. It's been real. Guys, thank you for joining me in my terrible horribleness of not remembering movie titles or character names or what we're even going to talk about next week. So let's just cut the shit and get the hell out of here.
You can't play Victim either, Greg.
That's probably a good thing. All right, everybody, have a good night. A scary tomorrow. We'll catch you on the flippity flip.